Welcome to The Explainer. We're going to try to squeeze millions of years of human history into just the next few minutes. And we're going to focus on three radical transformations, three huge upgrades that basically made us who we are today. All right, so let's kick things off with a real mystery. For most of our time on this planet, we weren't the only humans around, not by a long shot. We actually shared the Earth with other human species, like the super tough Neanderthals and the, well, still pretty mysterious Denisovans. And you can see it right here on this timeline. For hundreds of thousands of years, we were all living at the same time. We coexisted, we competed, we even interbred. But then you fast forward to about 20,000 years ago, and poof, it was just us. So what on earth happened? What was our secret weapon? Well, spoiler alert, it wasn't bigger teeth or sharper claws. Nope. Our first great upgrade, the one that really changed the game for us, happened right up here, inside our own minds. So, around 70,000 years ago, something just clicked inside the brain of Homo sapiens. We call it the cognitive revolution, and you can really think of it as our first and maybe our most important software update. And here's where it gets really wild. Our new language skills weren't just about yelling danger. A monkey can shout leopard, right? But only a human could say, hey, this morning, down by the river, I saw a leopard. I think we should get together and set a trap for it tomorrow. This let us cooperate in massive numbers, all united by stories and ideas, things like gods, nations, even money that only existed in our shared imagination. And that, right there, was the key. It was our superpower. This unbelievable ability to get millions of complete strangers to work together toward a common goal, well, that's what gave us the ultimate edge over absolutely everything and everyone else. Okay, so our first upgrade made us the undisputed masters of the planet. But the second upgrade, well, ironically, it would end up chaining us to it. Yeah, we always think of farming as this huge win, right? This brilliant leap forward for humanity. But was it? When you really start to dig into the evidence, the story gets a whole lot murkier for the average person. I mean, just look at this comparison. It's pretty mind-blowing. Hunter-gatherers, they ate all sorts of things, and they worked way fewer hours. Early farmers, on the other hand, often had to rely on a single, boring crop, worked from sunup to sundown, and lived packed together where diseases could spread like wildfire. So while farming could feed more people, the quality of life for most individuals, it kind of plummeted. And that's the kicker, right? Nobody chose this. It wasn't some grand plan for a better life. It was a slow, creeping trap. Every little step made sense at the time, but altogether, it locked us into this brand new system of endless work, social classes, and eventually writing. And not for poetry, but for accounting, to keep track of who owed what to whom. You know what's really wild? This didn't just happen in one place. It happened all over the world, independently. From the Middle East to China, from New Guinea to the Americas, different groups of people all got funneled down this same path, usually pushed by things like climate change and a growing population. This brings us to the final upgrade, the one we are still very much living through. This is the one that connected all our scattered civilizations into one single planetary system and kicked the pace of change into speeds that are, frankly, breathtaking and sometimes a little bit terrifying. So starting about 500 years ago, you get this cascade of breakthroughs. It's like one domino knocking over the next. You've got the printing press, the age of exploration, the scientific method, the Industrial Revolution. And all of them started weaving humanity into this one giant interconnected web. Think about this for a second. For almost the entire 300,000-year history of our species, our population grew really, really slowly. By the year 1800, after all that time, we finally hit 1 billion people on the planet. But then, look what happens. With this new global network humming along, the pace just explodes. It took only 127 years to add the next billion. And in less than a century after that, we've added another 6 billion. I mean, it's just incredible. This really shows you the truly explosive, exponential growth that was unlocked by our third big upgrade. So, how do you manage a planet with billions of people? Well, you need new stories. You need new operating systems for society. And as the power of traditional religions started to fade in some parts of the world, these new secular ideologies, all the isms, they popped up to try and answer that ancient question. How should we all live together? So, what does all this mean for us? Right here, right now. Well, maybe the most important takeaway is that this story, it isn't over. These upgrades haven't stopped.
History is still being written.
We're not watching the movie after it's finished. We're living through another one of these massive, radical transformations, just like our ancestors did. The pace of change has literally never been faster, and you could argue the stakes have never been higher. And so that leaves us with one final, pretty big thought. We've gone from the cognitive revolution to the agricultural to the scientific and global one. The question for us now is, what comes next? From stone tools to artificial intelligence, what is humanity's fourth great upgrade going to be? And what will it mean for what it even means to be human?